the whole movement. This, particular movement here, the Boxing Source, has started some time ago. It kind of like, branched off from, being, starting off with articles, so to speak, on an independent sports website. And then, it just branched off from that, and a podcast was started, basically. But it was started as the Boxing Source radio show. And in May of 2015, that was when the Boxing Source radio show was started. And it is branched off to, what we have currently with the Boxing Source podcast that has been weekly on Sundays, usually live through YouTube or, whatever is used for live, now YouTube, Twitch, and also Rumble. But it was basically there as, a weekly show for, all the topics in the sport of boxing. But as, it's been mentioned a few times before, through this has been, according to reports, the longest running boxing podcast in existence. And one thing that, I've been working on is, of course, having it in audio form, so to speak, when it came to the Boxing Source podcast. But, I had kind of slacked off on that for some time. But now, not only have I caught up to, current form, but we have every single episode available. That's right. Every single episode available on Spotify. So you could go on Spotify, look up the Boxing Source. You'll be able to check it out from the pilot episode in May of 2015 all the way up to now. So now the longest running boxing podcast in existence, the Boxing Source. Yo, y'all, hold up a little bit, man. Hold up a little bit. I know that there's some things going on here, whatnot, but let me see here if I could get going, get crack-a-lacking and everything like that. Okay, all right, y'all see me here. What's going on, everybody? The Boxing Source here, checking in with the midweek report. Yeah, I had been, pretty much out on vacation here, for the past weekend. I had spent some time with family. Also, it was family homecoming. All right, it was family homecoming, so I had to go down, over to Tallahassee for family homecoming. It's been a minute since I've been out there to family homecoming, so of course I had to, come through and enjoy that or whatnot. So, but I'm back, pretty much, on the tip of getting it in with boxing, and what a time to get back into it, as it's going to be a very busy weekend in boxing. Very busy weekend. We're going to be pulling off the doubleheader over here at the Boxing Source. We are planning to be in attendance at Norfolk, Virginia, at Scope Arena for that event, top rank event, featuring DB3. That's right, Davis Brothers 3, basically. As you're going to have Keyshawn, you're going to have Kelvin, you're going to have Keon, all on the same card at the Scope Arena, Norfolk, Virginia. With Keyshawn Davis headlining that fight card against Gustavo Lemos. Is going to be a great fight. They're headlining there in the lightweight division, right? You're going to have, of course, Keyshawn Davis there, the businessman, 11-0, going up against Gustavo Lemos at 29-1. Now, a lot of y'all know, in reference to Gustavo Lemos, with his lone loss, coming to Richardson Hitchens 7 months ago at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas, losing by unanimous decision. A couple of those scorecards had it 7-5 in favor of Richardson Hitchens. And a number of fans, that were there at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, of course, that new resort or new hotel there in Las Vegas, pretty much like replaced the Riviera in Las Vegas. If y'all have been around that city for decades. Y'all know what I'm talking about when I talk about the Riviera, right? But now it's fountain. You got the Fontainebleau there, brand new hotel resort. Yo, that new spot is crazy. But anyway, Salva Lemos has been there at the 140-pound division, for a good little minute. He had been at 135, fighting in Argentina. Yes, as an Argentinian fighter, going up against the businessman Keyshawn Davis. Of course, Keyshawn, 11-0, going here in his 12th pro bout. And he's had a number of feature-type fights or fights where he's gone up against some rugged guys. Of course, you got Miguel Mendueno. Of course, you have Jose Pedraza that has been on his fight resume. He had Anthony, can you dig it, yig it? It's on his resume. And this is all within, about 17, 19 months for Keyshawn Davis. And right now, he is kind of like ranked fairly highly in various boxing organizations, right? Like, the WBO, the WBC, the WBA. He has, kind of like gone up there really quickly, in not that much time. Keyshawn Davis is currently ranked number 3 in the WBC, currently ranked number 3 in the WBO, number 3 in the IBF. And let me see here. Oh, actually, you know what? Man, I don't even see him in the WBA. The WBA ain't really showing love here for Keyshawn Davis, at least not right now. But with that being said, Keyshawn Davis is on the brink of being a contender there in the lightweight division, and now going up against Gustavo Lemos here in a feature bout of the top-ranked card that is coming up. It's going to be a really, really good fight card here. And you know what? It's going to all be on ESPN Plus, right? And, for me with Keyshawn, this is one of these fights where it's going to be a feature type of fight here for Keyshawn Davis. Now, the thing about it is, I don't know if some of y'all were able to catch me earlier on the marathon. Pretty much it's a marathon right now on World Week Boxing. As he had a conversation there with Coach Ronnie Shields. I had a little bit of a, kind of like a fact of fiction there with Ronnie Shields in reference to this particular bout. But if y'all caught a little segment there with me and Brother Joseph Heron before I, of course, tipped off the South this Meat Week report, Brother Joseph said, this is a trap bout for Keyshawn Davis. He feels like it's almost like, Marcos Maidana versus Victor Ortiz, or he mentioned Ricardo Mayorga versus Vernon Forrest. You have fighters there that were, either undefeated or very highly up there in their respective weight class, going up against, tough, rugged fighters in Ricardo Mayorga and Marcos Maidana, respectively. And, they kind of, it looked like, at that time they came through there overconfident and ended up, being on the short end of those bouts. You can probably say the same thing there with like an Adrian Broner versus Marcos Maidana too. But here with Keyshawn going up against Gustavo Lemos, I've still, like I said, I lean towards Keyshawn Davis here. He's there at 5'9" with a reach at 70, while you have Gustavo Lemos there at 5'5.5". Now, the thing about it is that you're going to see something where I feel like, the trainer, the coach of the year, of course, high profile trainer there, coach of the year last year, Brian Bomack McIntyre, will be able to properly coach Keyshawn Davis as to what to do against someone like Gustavo Lemos. You're going to see, I feel like, once again, you're going to see, how talented Keyshawn Davis is. And, if y'all were able to catch the press conference that was today, over in Norfolk, You had the conversation there with Carl Moretti, who is, of course, one of the top guys there for Top Rank, and said that there is, a lot that we could see here with Keyshawn Davis, going after this fight, going into 2025. Like, it looks like they really are interested in putting their, I would say their resources toward, Keyshawn Davis. And if he is able to, go through this fight here against Gustavo Lemos, pretty good and get an impressive victory over Gustavo Lemos, or particularly, more impressive than what happened there with Richard Hitchens, his stock could go way, way, way up, particularly in the lightweight division where there is a lot out there in the lightweight division, and for Keyshawn, like I said, I've kind of called for this fight multiple times over the past year and a half. Keyshawn Davis, Raymond Murataya, we got to have that set up, especially after this one. Yeah, we got to have that set up, but here, I'm looking for Keyshawn Davis to, kind of like say, you know what? And I've seen this in, a past couple of fights. I'm going to show y'all how talented I am. And not only will I show how talented I am, I'm going to show you that I could get in there and get dirty with, any fighter that's out there. I'll get in there and I'll get dirty with any fighter that's out there. And I feel like Gustavo Lemos is going to bring that out of him. I feel like it's going to bring it out of him. As far as overall outcome, we've seen this thing here with Keyshawn Davis. Like I said, 11-0. I was really, really impressed in his performance against Jose Pedraza in February of this year. I was in attendance there for his bout against Miguel Madueno in July in Newark, right? And a lot of people, there in attendance were, enjoying what was going on there at that particular time with Keyshawn Davis, because you kind of like seen that, mix of boxing and fighting. And, even though Miguel Madueno was, trying to foul here and grab and wrestle and pull and all that type of stuff and, try to throw people around and all that. But Keyshawn was with all that action. He was with all that action. He's like, you know what? You want to try to throw around and wrestle? I'll do the same thing. You want to try to foul or something like that? Listen, I'll try to, get you around the side where the referee ain't looking, and I'm going to try to sneak something in too. See, like I said, if a fighter is trying to get, wants to get dirty with Keyshawn Davis, he's like, listen, hey, I don't mind. I don't matter. I'll get dirty too. And I feel like if Samuel Lemos tries that same thing, he going to get that same type of treatment. So I feel like I'm going to see Keyshawn Davis actually, perform there in front of, you say it was about 10,000 or so. It's going to be at the Scope Arena for this thing. So I feel like he's going to show up there and show out on this. No doubt, no problem, all that type of stuff. And with that being said, you have Keyshawn Davis there at number 3 in the WBC. You have Gustavo Lemos at number 10 in the WBC. They had entered Gustavo Lemos in that lightweight rankings after he had, been at 140 pounds. So for me, I feel like that's going to be pretty much it for Keyshawn Davis. As far as like fights against guys that are, a few steps down in those rankings. After that, like I said, I'm only calling for one fight that's out there, and that is Raymond Murataya. Both of them are under Top Rank, okay? Both of them are under Top Rank, and I feel like it's the fight that's out there. I don't see, like either one of those guys, maybe potentially getting it in with, I don't know, Vasyl Lomachenko or Denis Berinchyk. We haven't seen much of Denis Berinchyk since he beat Emmanuel Navarrete for that WBO belt. So I don't even see either one of those guys fighting Denis Berinchyk. might be against Vasily Lomachenko. Now, hey, I don't know if Keyshawn Davis has a great performance here against Gustavo Lemos and it ends up having a stoppage win or something like that, then hey, maybe you have Vasily Lomachenko getting back in the ring and fighting maybe a Keyshawn Davis. Or maybe we could put that type of energy in Keyshawn Davis and to have him say, hey, Loma, I'm ready for you right now. I'm ready for you right now. But with Lomachenko, he said he wanted to, of course, take the rest of 2024 off, and he's going into 2025. And we all know who's been looking to fight Vasily Lomachenko. But if Lomachenko is still on a kind of a chill little type scene, then I don't know, maybe you could see Keyshawn in the mix for a potential world title shot. Just depends on what happens here and how Top Rank reacts to what Keyshawn Davis does. So that's why this is a really, really interesting fight. Really, really interesting fight. And I know what my brother Joe Heron said earlier this evening, but I just don't see a path here where Gustavo Lemos can get to Keyshawn Davis like that. I feel like Coach Bomack will have Keyshawn Davis well prepared for this type of thing. So definitely looking forward to that. You're gonna have saying the co-feature, the Transformers, right? The Transformer, Troy Isley, in there in the middleweight division, coming up the ranks in the middleweight division, going up against Tyler Howard, right? So with Troy Isley, he's there at currently number 12 in the WBC, number 10 in the WBO. And he's looking to, build his record up. He's there undefeated. They're now currently at 13-0, going up against Tyler Howard at 20-1, right? Now, Tyler Howard had his last fight in August of 2023. And then before that, had a fight in 2021 where he lost to Ian Green. So this is something here with Troy Isley. He's been much more active, of course, without question. And he has had a couple of good bouts, particularly in November of 2023 against Vladimir Hernandez, of course, a good rugged veteran there, as they say, in the middleweight division, right? And then he had a bout against Marcos Hernandez at the in Verona, New York, in March 2nd of this year, and that was one of those really, really great overall performances there from Troy Isley in a TKO victory. He pretty much executed almost everything that he needed to do in that particular fight. If y'all have, ESPN Plus, whatever it is, maybe they still, have that fight card on there. You'll be able to watch it and you can see his performance. And, in that, during that, I think it was that particular one where you had Tim Bradley, in the corner of Troy Isley with, of course, Coach Bomack. And Coach Bomack was, talk about, what Troy Isley had been doing, working, training out there over in, Colorado Springs and whatnot, or B&B or whatever, for at least that particular fight. So he's been doing what he needs to do, whether it's, out there with Coach Bomack or, over in the Alexandria, Virginia area to, properly prepare for, his opponents. And now he has another one here in Tyler Howard. Yes, 20-1, but, Tyler Howard hadn't been, very active here recently. So, I'm looking to see with Troy Isley how he's going to perform. And, of course, it's a homecoming bout of sorts there for Keyshawn Davis. Of course, like I said, you're going to have Kelvin Davis and Keon Davis on there as well, right? But here with Troy Isley, it is what about say about 2.5, 3 hour drive down to Norfolk. It just depends. It just depends on when you leave the Alexandria area and go on 95. Because if you out there on the wrong time, going southbound, you could get stuck right there, where you had like with folks going trying to get into Woodbridge and over to Quantico. Hey, those in the DC area know. Whether it's like rush hour on the weekdays or like certain times on the weekends, if you ain't getting down there at a good time, or by a good time, you're gonna be pretty much stuck. And that's the thing here with me when it comes to Friday afternoon. I gotta leave at a good time on Friday afternoon from that area, because if I don't, that won't be good. Like there was like one time I tried driving down from DC area to Atlanta. It was like what, on a Thursday or a Friday. And this is like around 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. when I started from that way, whatever it was. I ain't even get to like Atlanta until like about 2 a.m. That's how bad it was. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But anyway, Troy Isley looking to get stay in the undefeated column there, against Tyler Howard. That's part of this card, co-feature bout. You're also going to have Abdullah Mason on this card against Johan Vasquez. Abdullah Mason, how many fights has he had this year? 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be his 5th fight. And I was, he was there, at the Prudential Center on July 6th. And then he turned right around and August 17th had another fight. So here he is again in another 8-round bout against Johan Vasquez. I mean, he's there at 20 years old, 5'9", like 15-0 currently with 13 knockouts. Like a lot of people have, given him like a lot of praise, and that's pretty much what he deserves, at least at this particular point. It looks like he has all the tools there to be one of the great ones, so to speak, in the boxing game. And he has a great foundation around him. His family is just a great group of folks, and he has everything pretty much lined up for him right now. And currently, he's in the lightweight division. Like I said, lightweight is really, really packed, and at this point, I currently you don't see him like anywhere in the top 15 on any of the sanctioned bodies rankings. But once he gets on there, like they could probably try to get him, up there really, really quickly if they match him up with, somebody like a Artem Hartunian or, somebody like that, because in this fight here against Johan Vasquez, that's going to be, I feel like that's going to be an easy night for him. I feel like that's going to be an easy night for him. So I just say, hey, that's kind of like a feature bout, for him at this particular point. Make sure he, gets what he needs to get there and handles what he needs to handle. And that would be that. Now, you're also, like I mentioned before, you're also going to have Kelvin Davis in there against Gabriel Solano, who is currently residing in Las Vegas. He's from Colombia. He was on I think it was a PBC card. He was on the Canelo Charlo card last year. Yeah, he was. And he's Gabriel Solano lost to Gabriel Valenzuela by knockout. That was Solano's last fight, you know. And he's lost 3 consecutive bouts up to this particular point. One of them being against McQuan Williams, who I think was recently featured in a what was that, a pro box card or something like that. So, but that was like back in 2021. That Gabriel Valenzuela was, his last bout, and then before that it was fights in 2021. So he hadn't really been all too active that much. But Kelvin Davis, was here, being trying to get into 14-0. I seen him. Did see him like twice? Nah, it wasn't twice this year. That year wasn't. Nah. Well, yeah, it was. Like I seen him 2 times already this year. This will be the 3rd time, so I'll be able to see Kelvin Davis in all of his fights for 2024. March 13th, out there in Plant City. And then I was out there in Newark, 4th fight that he had there, right? And now I'll be in Norfolk for his fight against Gabriel Solano. So 3 consecutive fights here for Kelvin Davis. And then you're also going to have Rais Alim back in the ring against Derlin Hernandez Geraldo. Alim hasn't been in action since his bout against Sam Goodman in 2023, where he lost by split decision over in Australia. It's Australia, man. So some folks might know how to go there. All right. And, he's going up against, here with Geraldo coming out of Puerto Rico, lost by TKO a few months ago. I missed that fight. That was over in the on the Boots fight, last Boots card against David Evasion. I wasn't in the arena by that time, man. I ain't even make it there for that, but he was on that card. So it looks like, that's something there where, they find an opponent there for Rais Salim, fit him on the card. Because remember, they're supposed to have Brian Norman Jr. on this card. Okay, we're supposed to have Brian Norman Jr. defending the WBO welterweight title on this card. And he was scheduled to face Derek Quayles, but injury suffered during camp for Brian Norman Jr. had him scratched off the bout, so we couldn't do that. Feel me? So that being said, had to replace that. And you got Rais Salim on this card, added on this card. I think you were supposed to have something else. This is like mentioned earlier there with Coach Ronnie Shields. Vito Milnicki Jr. was also supposed to be on this card, but it couldn't necessarily have him on there due to an illness. So he'll be back in the mix early 2025. Okay, back in the mix early 2025. But that being said, you got Rais Salim, of course, who is a former world title contender there, in the super bantamweight division, and see if he's going to get back in the mix in the super bantamweight division here. But first, he has this fight with Derlin Hernandez Geraldo, right? And see how that goes. So that's another fight on the card. You got, of course, Robert Merriweather III. That's going to be on here against Eric Howard. And I said 7-0, 3 KOs, 19 years old. I said we have like a lot of young fighters on this card. And then, like I said, DB3, the pro debut of Keyshawn Davis going up against Jalen Moore in the super welterweight division. Like I said, hey, if y'all can, y'all be sure to catch, these fighters on ESPN Plus, or if you're going to be there at the arena in Norfolk, it's gonna be something. I'm like trying to check these messages, man, because it got like a whole group on here, man. Um, yeah, man. So that's the thing about it, man. It's gonna be really good card, really good fight card, for fight fans to enjoy, there on Friday night. And then it's just gonna move forward there into Saturday. Matchroom boxing card featuring the rematch Jerome Ennis versus Karen Shukadjian. Yep, for the IBF welterweight title. We had the story with Jerome Ennis. Of course, is able to be the IBF welterweight champion after Terrence Crawford, after winning the undisputed welterweight championship, was not able to defend against the mandatory challenger at the time, Jerome Ennis. So, Jerome Ennis became champ, able to have a fight against David Evangian earlier this year. It was supposed to be against Cody Crowley. Cody Crowley was scratched off. You got David Evangian. He was able to stop David Evangian within 5 rounds. Now he's going up against Karen Shukadjian once again. And yes, the story has been that the fight against Karen Shukadjian was, as some would say, a struggle for Jerome Ennis, even though he was able to score a unanimous scorecard there, all across the board. Big ups to my guy Cap Quest in the building, man. Shout out to you. Yep, that's right. Keyshawn Davis and Zakeem Moses pro debuts this weekend. Yeah, just going on that real quick. I mentioned a thing there with Keyshawn Davis, right? And with me, being prepped, to go to the Boots card in Philadelphia, I was just looking forward to the main card, right? And then I find out that Zakeem Moses is on the card with a pro debut. And I was like, oh man. Listen, like whether I cover these fights or whatever, it's very few times that I actually make it to the fight cards in time for the first fight, right? Times where I would remember where I would do that is where I would have Jaleel Major Hackett, in his first few fights, there'll be of course he'd be part of fight cards there that involve Avante Tank Davis, whether it's like DC or Vegas or something like that, then yeah, I will be there front and center. I don't care if it's like 500, 5,000, or 5. If it's Jaleel Major Hackett, then I'm there, for that, But here, of course, y'all have been following boxing, amateur boxing, all that type of stuff. Y'all know about Zakeem Moses. Of course, folks talk about Carmel Moton. They're also talking about Zakeem Moses. So I'm like, yo, I gotta make it up there from start to finish for that fight card for Boots and Karen Shukadjian, because they're gonna have Zakeem Moses there in his pro debut. That's gonna be something, So you're gonna have Zakeem Moses there in his pro debut against Michael Ruiz. You're gonna have your other undefeated fighters on there. Dennis Thompson is gonna be fighting on this card. Ismail Muhammad is gonna be on this card. Recent Matchroom Boxing signee Ernesto Mercado is on this card. And Ammo Williams is going to be on this card as well, coming off his bout that he had against Hamza Shiraz in that Matchroom versus Queensberry 5v5. So this fight card here is going to be something too. Like I said, man, this doubleheaders, man, it's going to be something. It's going to be something because I'm going to be, out there for a good little minute in Norfolk, get some rest there in Norfolk, drive back up north, have a stop, or whatever it is, then get on up there to Philadelphia, right there for this joint. So it's gonna be something, man. I'm gonna be like zonked out by the time it's Sunday night when I get back or whatever it is. I'm telling you, it's gonna be crazy. But yeah, like I said, you're gonna have Emo Williams back in the ring. You're gonna have Ernesto Mercado there against Jesus Sriracha. Khalil Cole is also part of this card. He was, out there for the last fight card in Philadelphia, in July. But this time he's going up against Manuel Gallegos for a USA version of the light heavyweight title there. So it's going to be a pretty interesting thing there as far as like getting Khalil Cole in the light heavyweight rankings or whatnot. So I think that's going to be something there with that. Khalil Cole V, wins this. I may have a pretty interesting bout or an opponent for him next. Let's see if Boxer and Ben Shalom would be interested in having Khalil Cole face Ben Whitaker. Let's see about that. But outside of that, you got, the main card? Like I said, Khalil Cole is going to be on this again. You're going to have Raymond Ford back in the ring. Former world champion Raymond Ford going up against Orlando Gonzalez. Of course, Raymond Ford is from the pretty much around the area, Camden, New Jersey area. Going to be fighting against Orlando Gonzalez. He's coming off of his split decision against Nick Ball. Some folks felt that, Nick Ball won the fight. Other folks thought that Raymond Ford won that fight. We also, know about what happened earlier this year where Raymond Ford faced Otabek Komatov, and, a number of folks were saying that, Komatov was outboxing Raymond Ford, up until the last parts of the fight. And then he had to get a, stoppage victory in the 12th round in order to, win that WBA title, there at featherweight. And after, his bout against Nick Ball, they were kind of like saying that, maybe Raymond Ford could kind of delve a little bit north of featherweight. Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, my guy, brother Terrell, man? I don't know if I could, get this thing on for a link or whatnot, but I don't know if you wanted to join in here on the late night tip. Yeah, I know it's after 11 o'clock here Eastern Standard Time, but it had like a number of things here that's been going on. Like I said, over the past few days. Just trying to adjust everything and whatnot. So, that's what's going on. You feel me? That's what's going on. But yeah, you have a Raymond Ford that that's getting back in the mix. I don't know if he's gonna still be at 130 or 126, or if he's going to be on at 130. You know what I mean? But with that being said, we just want to see him, back in the mix in the ring. At least I did see him out there at the Wells Fargo Center in the last fight card that they had there, featuring Boots Ennis, of course, against David Evasion. So they're trying to see about lining them up to have another fight there. So at least they're gonna get him back in and get him back in the mix. Get him going, and we'll see how he performs here against Orlando Gonzalez. And then after that, if he gets a win, then what is Matchroom going to set him up with next, right? So after that, you're gonna have the co-feature bout, WBC Super Flyweight title. Pedro Guevara is there at 42 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw, trying to get the belt from Jesse Bam Rodriguez, multi-division champion. They're at super flyweight, ranked in the Boxing Source pound for pound rankings. And we have him, there of course at pound for pound. I recently had updated this pound for pound here, from about like a week or so ago. And right now we have Jesse Rodriguez at number five. Number five, right? He's defeated a number of guys that have been featured in the super flyweight division, and with this recent one, June 29th against Juan Francisco Estrada, finishing the show there with a knockout victory. Now he's going to be out here co-featured bout, part of this thing there where they're trying to get Bam Rodriguez to have his name out there in the East Coast, build his name up in the East Coast. But they got some plans for Bam Rodriguez in the future. He's highly favored to win this bout against Pedro Guevara. He gets through this bout, impressive performance as expected or whatever it is. They're looking to have Bam Rodriguez going up against a former pound for pound king, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Yep, that's right. This was brought up here, what is it, about over an hour ago on the War Week Boxing channel, that February 22nd could be Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez and Jesse Bam Rodriguez. That would be a huge fight there in that super flyweight division. And that goes through, man, it's going to be awesome. It is going to be awesome. But we got to see here what Bam Rodriguez, does here against Pedro Guevara. At least for some time, I was watching the WBC rankings from a couple months ago when they initially announced this fight. I'm like, okay, where's Pedro Guevara at? Then they follow him up. Where's Guevara at? Follow him up. Where's Guevara at? All right. Here are our latest rankings. He's on there. Or at least I think he's on there. I can't even, pay much attention. But they probably added him on there. But it's still the defense of that WBC super flyweight title. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, I'm just looking forward to seeing Bam Rodriguez in action. I think this is going to be the first time that I will see Bam Rodriguez live in a fight. So seeing one of these top pound for pound fighters here that has had a lot of momentum here over the past couple of years, having those fights against notable fighters there at the super flyweight division, now I'll be able to see him live, co-feature bout at the Wells Fargo Center. Now, going to the main event. As I mentioned, there were Ennis, IBF Welterweight Championship. The second time that he's going to defend this IBF Welterweight title, this time against Karen Chikazian. Of course, I mentioned what happened over at the Capital One Arena, or whatever they want to call it here at this particular point. Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., 12-round bout. And, I mean, the thing about it was, with that fight card, I kind of like said, you had like a decision in that first bout that involved Demetrius Andrade and Damon Nicholson. Then you had another decision where you had Rashidi Ellis, there, and Rashidi Ellis going up against Roman Villa. And so, I think folks was like hungry for, a knockout in that main portion of the card. And they thought that they were going to get it there with Jerome Boots Ennis. Karen Chikazian was not cooperating at all. So had another, 12-round bout thing. But real quick, we got my guy here, Brother Terrell, on a YouTube live chat. He says, any chances that Bam is upset in his next fight before a potential Chocolatito fight. Nah, I don't see it. I don't see it. Like with Guevara there, I mean, he's ooh, 35, 42 wins, 22 wins by way of knockout, 35 years old in the super flyweight division. Now, he was able to get a win over Andrew Maloney in May of this year, right? Wait a minute. I wonder if that was a fight where Andrew Maloney said, I think it was. I don't know if that was the one where Andrew Maloney said, yo, fuck this sport, I'm out. That's it. I'm done. Oh man, yo, oh, never mind. Oh, come on. Yo, I think it is. Hey, I wonder if they saw it. Yo, I'm gonna, with that being said, I'm gonna go on the ESPN Plus thing and I'm gonna see if they have this. Because this was part of that Vasily Lomachenko versus George Kambosos card. And yeah, Maloney lost by split decision to Pedro Guevara. And I think, they said like after the fight, they had Maloney on there. And he's like, yo, this sport, he was like, he didn't like that decision at all. And he said, man, fuck this, I'm out. Oh man, yo, that's crazy. Yo, yeah, I gotta check that one out. I gotta see if they still have that. Yeah, but with that said, yo, like, yeah, Guevara, yeah, even if I watch that fight, I don't see a path of where Guevara would be able to win. He's lost to Carlos Cuadras. He's lost to Kenshiro Taraji, who is also on the Boxing Source pound for pound rankings. Go ahead and check it out on the boxingsource.net. Just real quick, y'all, don't forget to do that. Go on to boxingsource.net. You look up at the top. It'll say pound for pound. You click on that, and you'll be able to see the top 10 pound for pound rankings. All right, so y'all be sure to do it. But yeah, you see there that he fell short against those guys. And with that being said, man, I really don't I really don't see a path to victory there for Pedro Guevara. Jeez, what's going on here? That got me. That part with Maloney got me for real. Uno mas. Yeah, so yeah, I just don't see necessarily a path of victory there for Pedro Guevara in that one. And back to the thing there with Boots and Karen Chukadzian. Oh my goodness, man. Joe Heron was saying Karen Chewbacca. Like he even got Coach Ronnie Shields to say Karen Chewbacca. Like, come on, y'all. Y'all just disrespectful with that. But with Karen Chukadzian, right? I don't see where he could do much to really shift anything in his favor in this. Yeah, he's there at 24-2 with 13 knockouts. He did have a couple of TKO victories after his loss to Boots Ennis there, but that was over in Madrid, Spain, and Munich, Germany. Then he had the bout against Harry Scarf in Germany earlier this year. I guess that put him in position to be the top-ranked fighter in the IBF. As I say, the IBF be IBF. And so that's how you had the situation. The IBF, put down the order. Boots Ennis was trying to, was looking for, other bouts to take place there where he can unify. Yeah, we know about the story there with Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. We know about, the situation with Mario Barrios. As far as the WBA champion there, Iman Stanionis. Just being real, I really don't know what his current situation is. So, no unification bout. Therefore, you have this. And, as John Ennis mentioned on, one of his interviews there with Brother Jamil Parker of YSM Sports Media, he's like, every IBF champion has been mandated to fight their mandatories, and either they fought their mandatories or they ended up relinquishing the belt. Yep. Even, well, I mean, Santos Alvarez Barragan has, vacated the IBF belt before, and he vacated the IBF belt again. And so that's why he had that fight that happened there for the IBF title. And, that how that kind of like turned out. But here with the welterweight division, you have Jaron Ennis being able to honor his mandatory and get through this fight. Should be fairly easy night for him. Then he could move on to his next offense. Or will he? Any chances that Chikazian will actually bring a strategy to win this time? Man, good question. I don't know what type of strategy would kind of work here. I don't. The story, of course, will be, will Boots Ennis be able to stop Karen Chikazian? And if he's going to be able to do it, I guess pretty much around the time that, you had the thing there with David Avengeance. So we'll see, That being said, we got, that as the headlining bout there over at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. Looking forward to that. Like I said, it's going to be a pretty good road trip going from, my, base over in the DMV area down to Norfolk, Virginia for that Keyshawn Davis Gustavo Lemos fight card. Then coming up back north, Philadelphia for this Jaron Boots Ennis versus Karen Chikazian card, and closing it out. Very, very excited about all that. Looking forward to covering what I could do or what I could cover. I know he had the press conference for the Keyshawn Davis Gustavo Lemos fight that happened earlier today. Tomorrow, you're gonna have a press conference for the Boots Ennis Karen Chikazian bout. You're gonna also have the weigh-in for Keyshawn and Gustavo Lemos, and then the weigh-in for Boots versus Chikazian is gonna be Friday. But you also have the fight card for Top Rank. So a lot of activity going on within driving. Well, at least for me, driving distance. You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot to kind of like go through, cover and everything like that. So y'all be sure to keep up with the Boxing Source when it comes to that weekend coverage. Hopefully, I'll have like a couple of articles up in relation to what's going on with those events. You'll have something there with Keyshawn Davis. Already had put up a couple of articles in reference to Bam Rodriguez and Jaron Boots Ennis. So want to just continue to provide boxing content for y'all. Tomorrow. Ooh, that's gonna be something too. Tomorrow, I think around either 8:45 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern time, trying to schedule a conversation with Dusty Hernandez Harrison. So currently working on that and seeing about securing that here, locking that down. Because there might be some interesting news when it comes to Dusty Hernandez Harrison. That could be potentially really big. But that we'll see how that kind of like sorts itself out here in the future. But outside of that, that's it. At least for me, what I got here in the midweek report, man. I mean, this is 11:35 p.m. Eastern time. I need like some type of rest or something. It's about an hour or so in. And, like I said, I was on earlier with Brother Joe Herron of War Week Boxing and Coach Ronnie Shields. So we had like a little fact or fiction going down on that, and other topics that we talked about. So if you haven't done so already, you can check that out as well. Also, right, have an interview with Derek Scooter Davis, who will be fighting on the Jeter Promotions card November 9th at the Live Resort Casino there in Hanover, Maryland, right? So he's going to be part of that card. You're going to have Amal Muhammad Jones on that card. You're going to have the Professor Michael Fox on that card. You're going to have Ezri Turner on that card, Emmanuel Alim. And it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. Very, like I said, a very, 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 very busy boxing weekend just in this area alone. It's just a lot. It's a lot to cover. So, hey man, I don't know, Brother Terrell. You might have to help me out on some of this coverage, man, or something, man, as far as like provide updates or something, because hey, I am not gonna be trying to, have myself falling out or whatever it is, over the weekend. But I think I should be able to be good to go or whatnot. So just look forward to all the coverage here on the Boxing Source. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Here, whether it's through YouTube or Rumble or social media platforms, right? That being said, I'm going to be signing out here on the Midweek Report, and we'll catch you here for the Boxing Source podcast on Sunday night. All right. Until then, I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.